game designers. This is Mr. Sparks. We're going to continue our endless runner. When we last left off in the last video, we were doing, we varied our course a little bit, so we had some up ramps and some down ramps. And so when we play, you'll notice our character has these ramps that will randomly generate. Some may go up, some may go down, and so we get a little bit of variation there. So what we're going to do real quick today, kind of do a short video. We're just going to kind of cover how to, when our character hits an object that we're going to create here. One of the other videos is we'll do like a ragdoll death animation. So not super complex, shouldn't take a very long time to do, so we're going to do that one, and then before we get into the way our character will be ready to go, before we get into creating obstacles and turning corners and things like that, some additional pickups, we'll already have that process already done. So what we want to do first of all, we're going to go into the mannequin folder. So I want you to navigate here and look for the folder called mannequin. And this is where the actual character we're using right now works. So if we decide to add additional characters later, we'll do this little process as well. So just go into the character and go into the mesh folder. You should see these three objects here. So we're looking for the one that says SK_mannequin, the pink looking one right there. So we're going to create a physics asset for this thing, and that's what we're going to actually use to be the ragdoll. So we're going to right click on this one here, and at the very top you'll see it says create skeletal mesh actions, then physics asset, and we're going to choose the second option. It says create and assign. So we want to create one, and we're going to assign it to this particular skeleton. Okay, and you'll get this little pop-up window here, just talking about the bone size and primitive type and things like that. So there's different objects that you could use here, but we're just going to kind of go with what the default says here. So we'll just go ahead and hit create asset, and that should open up in your window. And when you do, you'll notice you have this this little setup right here, and has all these little collision things all around it. So trying to figure out how to adjust the skeleton, and you'll have like another little tree over here. So we're not going to change anything over there, but what we need to do is in the details panel here is we need to click this little green button that says generate all bodies. So if we go ahead and click that, nothing seem to really happen. And you're going to go up here to your simulate button, and if you hit simulate, you'll notice the character just kind of falls down in a ragdoll fashion. If you click it back, then it pops back up, goes down here. If you hold the control key down and your right mouse button, you can actually grab part of the skeleton, and you can see how it will just like dangle around. So you could grab different bones of it and just kind of sling around there, and you notice that it is just completely ragdoll. So again, to play around with this little feature here, if you just hold the control key down on the keyboard and then you just hold the right mouse button down, when you click on a bone, you actually have this ability here. So you could just kind of play around with that. Okay, so once you get that done, you can mess around with that. Just want to hit save. That'll save that, and you can go ahead and close that out. So we'll go ahead and click save all. Make sure everything we've done has been saved. And then we're going to go over to our character. So in our runner base is where we're going to go. So we're just going to go in here to runner base. And one thing we're going to do, first of all, before we start working with creating this ragdoll effect, is we're actually going to have to adjust the collision on the actual character mesh itself. So if you go over here, looking into your viewport, and we'll click on this mesh inherited here, which will be this character here, and what we're looking for in the details panel here is just to scroll down until you see this area here that says collision, and currently it says collision presets, it says character mesh. So what we want to do, this gives you all the details of things that it actually works with. So we're going to change this So you click the little down arrow there. We're going to change this to block all dynamic. And when we choose block all dynamic, that's going to block any dynamic object, which would be like the floor of our course and things like that, so that the skeleton doesn't fall through when it ragdolls. Okay, so what else we're going to do here is we're going to create a new function here. So we're just going to go over to the function and click that, and we're going to call this Ragdoll Death. Okay, so we're going to use this function to call the function when we need to enact this. So what we're going to do basically is we're going to drag our mesh out right here from our components part, and we're just going to say set simulate physics, and it should be down here under physics. Set simulate physics is this one right here, and it should look something like this, and we just plug this in. And the most important part to get this to actually work is we got to make sure that we click this button here, simulate. Okay, if we don't do that, it actually won't simulate the ragdoll setup. Okay, and then the next thing we need to do is take our character movement, drag this out, and we're just going to say disable movement. So this will disable the movement, kind of stop everything. And then we can add a return mode right down here, and that will pretty much be all we need to do for this simple little function. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and hit compile, and now we need a way to test this and to call this. So we're just going to use a key here. So we got all these things here, so we're just going to go, I'm just going to go right up here above movement. So right in this area here, I'm just going to use the R key. So the way you can just use a key just to test it with is I'm going to right click in this area. I'm going to type R keyboard, and you'll see the keyboard options pop up, and you'll see these little symbols there. So we're just going to say that. So when we press the R key, we want to run this function. So this is only going to be for a test. So we kind of draw around this. And I want to show you how I want you to do comments. So we're going to comment this little section here so that we can know what it's supposed to be doing. And so I'm going to ask you here shortly to be able to turn in some of your screenshots of some of your code so I can see how you've been progressing. So you want to go here and left click in your graph and just draw a box around the nodes you want to comment. So we're going to do the R in the here, and we'll just press the C key. That will create a comment box, and I'm going to put in parentheses my name. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start that out with me. Okay, and I would like for you to put your first and last name in parentheses at the beginning of these comments. And then we're just going to say character ragdoll death function test. Okay, delete later. Okay, so the delete later will tell us we need to delete this later when we go back in and look at our code, and I'm going to make this one actually red. So I'm going to drag that red, put that up there to save for later. Now this should call my attention to it that okay, that's red, there's something I need to look at there. Okay, and I can see here ragdoll, this is just character ragdoll death function test, delete it later. So it means I want to delete it when I'm finished with it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and compile that, and now all we need to do is just go out here and test this thing. So our character should run, so we'll go ahead and hit play. When our character runs, we can still run side to side, and when I press the R key, my character should just kind of ragdoll and drop there. So that's kind of what we want it to do. We can try that again, and we'll do some additional things after this. So you know, even if I'm up in the air and I go up in the air, my character will ragdoll and go flying through the air. So that's pretty much what we're looking to accomplish. Is that just the test key when we press that R key, is that this character will just kind of ragdoll and just kind of fall down, and we'll use that with some obstacles and other things like that in the future. So that's pretty much what we're going to do for this video. Play around with that, have a little bit of fun, and be kind of an interesting effect, and we'll continue to improve on that. So that's going to be all for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.